Hello everyone and welcome to another New World video. My name's Brian if you happen to be new to this channel, but if you're already a part of the 15,564, y'all, this number is insane, guys. Thank you so much for coming in, coming back, welcome in, and welcome to the video. We're going to be talking some trash. We're going to be dunking on some trolls in today's video, but before we get to that, I want to give you guys some updated thoughts that I have with the expansion announcement, because I think it's actually pretty telling, and I think we're actually starting to see the real pattern that AGS has for New World and where I can see it going forward. I do want to correct the record though, because one of the things that came in today's video was, or excuse me, yesterday's video, was that I think I misread something. I misspoke. So Caleb is correcting it, saying that the flail will actually be locked behind the expansion. Personally, whether you want to purchase the expansion or not, I think I misread it, but yes, I was excited, and thank you so much for the correction. So now we've hopefully set the record straight. The new weapon and progression is going to be locked behind the purchase of the expansion, and we're going to talk about what you guys also have to say about that, because people have different opinions, and so I'm going to highlight those because I believe in raising up all voices. We talk a lot about games, a lot about New World here, and a little bit about life, so I'm not here to hold anybody's hands, and I think this video is going to be pretty spicy for some people out there. But let's get some updated thoughts on the expansion. First and foremost, based off of what we've seen, we know that there's more announcements coming. We know the dev update's going to come next week. This will give them the ability to kind of dive into some of their thoughts and more of the systems, perhaps. But on its surface, zone is being reworked. We didn't get an announcement for a new zone. New weapon, single weapon. Last year alone, before leading up into Brimstone, you technically had 3 weapons kind of roll into the game itself. And obviously making weapons isn't as easy as just like, oh, here's the weapon itself, right click, insert, flail, etc. But one weapon, then the story, and then obviously the rest of the game is expanding, and some of those changes are just being a part of the game itself and not locked behind a $30 expansion. I honestly think that whether they wanted to or not, Brimstone Sands represents the size of what we can see in an expansion. While they didn't call that an expansion because they didn't want to have that that set a standard that the expansion itself would be free, it just makes sense that we might be seeing kind of these chunks of expansions roll out every year based off of what we're seeing with the size. Now, if the expansion included a couple of different zones, a couple of different weapons, then I would say that you would probably see the expansion probably roll out every 2 years. But it seems like what we're going to be talking about here today is a yearly big update that's now going forward going to be labeled an expansion, and that expansion will be paid for. You can let me know how you feel about that. Personally, I think that makes the most sense, especially coming off of Destiny. And when you look at ESO, like those things seem to have that same established pattern, because it puts the game back into the marketing wheelhouse for everybody going forward. But let's dive into some troll comments. Now, Toke Star Live, he's commented for years. So there's like ever since the channel I think was first founded, he either is a WoW player or he's just somebody who has got free time and he likes to dunk on New World. And the only thing I have to say, he says, who cares about a dead game and his trash expansion keck? The only thing I have to really wonder is, like, how heavy is the weight of being wrong on your shoulders all of this time? You've continually called it wrong. You've continually dropped L's on your head every single day. And I just wondered, I am entertained by your ignorance and by your absolute lack of real any kind of expertise in this field. So thank you so much for the comments and for engaging in the videos, bro. But at the end of the day, dude, you're just dropping freaking massive L's, and it just brings me so much freaking joy to see you in the comments constantly being wrong about it. So please, yeah, tell me, oh no, the game's going to shut down tomorrow. Please tell me that stuff again. Because it really does bring a lot of joy to my heart. Anyway, guys, I'm not here to hold your hand, and if you talk crap, I'm gonna smack back, because I'm just tired and fatigued of these quote-unquote people who just talk shit, and they literally do not have anything that backs them up. So I'm just very pleased. So there we go. Let's move on. William Casey says, one zone, not even large one. People will be done with this game again in around a month. So you can see about probably the expansion. It's going to take anybody from 1 to 3 months worth of big content. And then that's really where you kind of see the seasonal model sustain players who want to keep playing the game throughout. But the bigger waves are going to come around the expansion times. What you'll end up seeing with what AGS is doing, because we already know they're going to continue to invest in this game for the next 10 years, or excuse me, it's a 10-year game, so we have 8 years before they can say, hey, we did what we committed to do. That engine, everything that's being done in New World is also to the benefit of their other MMO that they're working on, which I think is ultimately a good call. So yes, people are going to come in, they're going to play the content, and then they're going to dip out. And that is the MMO RPG cycle. As soon as the glass shatters from your view, and that is essentially kind of what these games want. This is the method essentially that keeps people coming back, and at the same time not afraid to take breaks. The game doesn't charge an expansion like a monthly sub, so it ends up being something where that naturally just allows for that ebb and flow of people coming in and out. Now, Arbuckle says, sorry, Amazon, but you can't expect me to pay after abandoning this game so much that you never did anything about the bots, the hackers, or endless bugs and exploits in the game. There's literally no admins or GMs to talk to in-game, and you want people to pay extra $40 to keep playing the game that was already sold to them in a very incomplete way. This is, I think, a fair critique from a view. I don't think it's a correct critique. I think this is something where people believe in one thing. We've seen them work on the bugs, the hackers, all of these various things, and they've done so in such a really good form and fashion. But this is a belief, this is where we take it out of the realm of what are they actually doing and into the realm of kind of a religious kind of tone in this case, because they believe this to be true, and it feels true the way they read it and they say it in this case. However, that's where I think AGS could still do a better job. One of the things that I'll continue to advocate for is literally bug bot ban reports. People feel like they're reporting people. Oh, it turns out that that person's a human, but the person is I reported them and I still see them there. What really does help, and we see other companies, so I think Square Enix does this, they usually put out hey, these are the number of counts that were banned. It just kind of helps reiterate that our reports aren't just going into a black hole. I think if AGS stepped up and did that, that would be a really great thing to see. Now, Alarian G. Lottie says, hi, I never bought the game, seeing how it went at launch, but now I see they put in interesting stuff. Do you think it's worth waiting? Or maybe there might be a bundle when the expansion drops, like the expansion plus base game at a nice price. And yes, there is a bundle, and this was on the World Playing in 2023 video. There is a bundle for the expansion, and if you have not bought it, here's the best advice that I can give you here, is that chances are the game will go on sale. The base game will go on sale pretty soon. They tend to run these sales at least once a season, and that usually means you can pick up the game for 50%. $40 for the base game is great, but if you could pay $20 for that, that's better, right? And if that ends up coming about, you can go ahead and just pick it up for $20, because then the expansion itself will be that $30. So ultimately, you're looking at $50, and you can start your character and start playing today. Then essentially the expansion will drop. It will have the bundle, but you won't see that sale come in until after that initial wave of hype dies down, so that way they can pick up anybody who's looking for that that cheaper Christmas gift, or whether for themselves or for loved ones, etc. So that is something for you guys to consider in the future. All right, and Shadowron says, do you think that we're on the verge of being over monetized? I mean, we have the premium pass, the transmog tokens, and in-game store. Do you think it's a bit much? I think that it's towing the line, and I hope AGS looks at monetization as a whole and maybe brings the price for some things down a bit. And we see them do sales, right? One of the things that when it comes to the price, a lot of people get sticker shock. I always look at that here's the base price, so that when they discount it, it automatically tricks your brain in thinking there's value. This is just a sales technique. Oh, I'm going to say that this is $20, and then we put it on sale every couple of weeks for $10, and we sell a bunch, right? This is the economics of ideas. This is just the supply and demand. When you overprice something, you actually make less money, and so there's that ebb and flow, and it gives them that wiggle room to kind of play around with it. Now, are we on the verge of being over monetized? There's no subscription to this game, and I think that's kind of an important distinction. The Battle Pass acts as that optional sub, but you can still play the game, and you don't have to engage with that content. It's just there if it ends up bringing you that level of value. Personally speaking, the way that they run this, the seasonal model, where it expires, the Battle Pass expires with each new season, I think is completely junk. And when you look at things like Wayfinder and Halo, you see the value in purchasing the season and keeping it so that when you have fits of, active playtime, you can end up, I think, taking more advantage of that content and enjoying it way more because you own it. And when it expires, it makes you feel artificially rushed. And that, I think, goes against actually the tone of what New World actually truly offers me. It's a very, very relaxing, and it can also get sweaty, but it's a world that I want to spend time in. And as soon as they start making me feel like I have to spend time there, then like my brain does something silly and I just want to dip out. Now, selling the expansions, selling the seasonal pass, and the in-game store, being that it's optional and it is not required, I don't feel over monetized. I get to choose what I want to do with my money. If you feel over monetized, then we need to have a conversation about how you do your budget, how you manage your time. Getting out of debt is a real key thing that I am wanting to encourage more and more of you guys to do. Pay off your dadgum debts, pay off your student loans. In fact, Dave Ramsey has a free live streaming course coming up on September the 12th, in which that they're going to walk you through, because there is a looming nightmare for so many people out there that's dropping here soon in October. Now, just as a heads up, that's going to be it for today's video. Class dismissed, guys. I just wish you guys all the absolute very best. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. I don't have any real pressing topics to discuss, but that's what we'll save for future class dismissed videos. But anyway, guys, thanks so much for being here. Love you faces. Be good to each other out there, and I'll see you in the next video. But until then, take care.